Yeah, sure.
All right, Debayan, are we good to go?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Hi, guys. Welcome to Cat Day Live on Inside IIM. We've been doing these sessions since morning, non-stop. If you look at our sessions, you would feel that today is a very massive day. The way they cover elections on the news channels, we've been covering a Cat Day. That also leads to this false perception that the cat day is that important. It makes us feel that this is a judgment day, and after this you don't know what's going to happen, what your destiny is going to get decided today, what dowry you will get, what business you will get into, what kind of people you will spend time with. All of that is defined right now on this day, and that is a false perception. Firstly, I gave that dowry example because there's a reality in India, but completely don't endorse it, and it's a horrible thing. But I also want to clarify that the cat day in itself is not that important. People have made amazing careers outside of the CAT exam, outside of the IIMs, and that is why we have this panel. While all the big YouTube channels are right now going to be talking about cutoffs, etc., we thought we need to balance things out, and we also need to talk to people, the larger number of people who are not going to make it to a top IIM this year. That is usually the case, and we want to talk to them, and there is a lot of challenges that they are going to face from here on, and we thought we'll assemble a panel to talk about that. Debayan, I'd love to have you introduce them.
Okay. Hi, Kunj. Hi, everyone. So for this evening's panel, so we have with us students from some of the top B schools in the country, and we also have Prerna ma'am with us. So I'll quickly introduce the students of the B schools. So we have Akram, who is currently at XLRI. He's in a second year right now, so he's pursuing HRM from XLRI. Hi, Akram. And we also...
Thank you for the introduction. Thank you.
So we have Rishabh Singh with us. Rishabh is currently at IIM Kozhikode. So the main reason why Rishabh will be a value addition for this segment is that in his first attempt he had scored 94% and could not make it to his dream B school. So he had taken a drop year to prepare for CAT, and then he made it to IIM Kozhikode. He's also in his second year right now. So we have Kinshuk Batra with us, who is from IIFT Delhi. He has just joined IIFT Delhi. He is in his first year. Hi Kinshuk, thank you so much for joining us. So also we have Prerna ma'am. We have Prerna ma'am from iCall. So Prerna ma'am, I'm so sorry. So Prerna ma'am is a counseling psychologist from iCall TIS. So she specializes in dealing with students who and mostly with peer pressure of students that the students face after exam and with exam preparation. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks a lot, guys, for coming in. And Prerna ma'am will come to you in depth towards the second half of the discussion. We will exclusively take time out to talk to you about some of the issues around this. But before that, we want to talk to the students who are here with us. Guys, you all have seen a bad cat day, a shitty cat day. Some of them, and you look at them and you feel so jealous because some of them just get in. You don't understand that first time unko score aa jata hai and they get into an IIM, you're like, man, what have I done wrong? Did you guys feel that? What was the feeling like the day you realized that your cat hasn't gone well? What was that feeling like, and how did you overcome that to then make your further decisions? Anybody? Kinshuk, Rishabh, Akram, anybody can go first. Yeah, Kinshuk.
Okay,
Go on.
I'll go ahead. Yeah, so usually you come to know that your cat is doomed once you exit the center, and you don't have that good gut feeling that you have done well. So for me, it was the same. I was a bit down on the day and the day following the cat, but having said that, we already have filled certain examination like IIFT, SNAP, and other NMED examination. So I bucked up myself from the next day itself. Like IIFT was only a week after the CAT. So I compiled all the materials that I've gathered for the IIFT GK material and all, and started with preparation from the next day itself. So with that preparation usually helps me a lot because it gives a head start with respect to the other students who are still bogged down. So it helps.
Okay. What about you, Rishabh? What was your experience?
Thank you, Kunj. So my experience, I'll talk about 2017. I just didn't have a failure in CAT. I had failures in ZAT, SNAP, IIFT, and CAT. So basically, that pointed to the fact that I wasn't prepared enough. And but the prime factor in me that made me go for the drop next year was that I really wanted to study at an IIM, and if any of you, whoever is watching this, feel that this is the end, it's not. Next year is always there, and it can happen if you have the fire, and you just don't let the fire die. You started off with some reasoning, something in you which said you wanted to get to a great college, whether it be getting a great salary, or having that tag on you, or as Kunj said, maybe dowry. Very bad reason, but yes, so whatever motivated to you, it shouldn't die. And believe me, if that's there, you have one more year, and with the same passion and fire, you need to keep going, and probably next year might be the day. So yeah.
Right. Akram, what were your thoughts like when you had a bad cat day?
Thank you, Kunz. So I had spent almost the whole day trying to Google, trying to find out what my percentile could be, trying to find out the answer keys. I kept on looking at forums, seeking validation from people that okay, you will get some good college, calling all the people in my phone list just to get assurance that okay, I will end up in some good college. But then at the end of the day, I realized that yes, I have actually screwed up my cat, and that is when I looked at what remains. So there was IIFT, there was that. So I then talked to people who had appeared, who had taken these examinations and had a different strategy for each of them. So
Right.
that is when I invested almost a month for that, and it ended well. Nothing ends with the cat being doomed. There is always something you can look forward to.
Right, right. Guys, so how do you come out of it? Because there is a lot of peer pressure also, right? Like there'll be people that you went to cat classes with, there'll be batchmates in the case of freshers who have all gone into that cat center and come out with different kinds of emotions. Some are elated because they know that okay, इसने तो crack मारा है, and that kind of language is used, and you suddenly realize that okay, nobody's going to speak like that about me, and all your competitive juices come to a halt, and you're like, how did this happen? Why am I not up there? All that belief and all that sacrifice that you may have made in the last year, it feels like it's come to nothing now, so I'm not going to prepare. How do you overcome that feeling?
I'll start off with that.
Yeah.
I guess you have to accept the fact that the CAT has not gone well, and none of your exams have. And somewhere you need to put yourself in a bubble for some time to keep away from all the chatter that's going to go around. And
Right.
once you are ready again to come out of that bubble, you need to know when you're in that bubble, when you're with yourself, you need to understand why you failed. In my case, it was very clear that I failed because I wasn't prepared enough. Why was I not prepared enough? I had a very taxing job. I was working 12-13 hours a day, and along with that, a lot of certain mental pressures I used to take unnecessarily. So you need to have a conversation with yourself, know why it didn't happen, and once you come out, don't have negative emotions of people who did clear it. Try to understand why they cleared it, and probably give them that pat on the back. They did what you couldn't, and that's a fact. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. Maybe next exam, next year. That's what you need to realize. You can do it, but give them a pat on the back. No need to get jealous or anything of the sort. They have beaten you at that moment. You need to accept that. Yes, so maybe someone else can also elaborate.
Sure. Shivangi, you want to come in here? You've yourself taken the cat, perhaps the toughest cat back in 2017. What has been your experience, and is there anything that you want to ask these guys?
Yeah, so when I took CAT 2017, there came a point in the exam when I felt like, okay, this is not going well. But what I did that time was I told myself in my head that I can't let this go. I have to do the best I can. So that was the parameter on which I measured myself. I didn't measure myself against someone else. I just wanted to do the best I could have done in that time. And my score, which actually came, it could have actually fetched me around 95 or maybe above that. But that year, I don't know what happened. On that score, my percentile was lesser, between 90 to 95. But it actually didn't make me sad at all, because I thought that, okay, whatever percentile I get, I will find out which colleges I can go to. And trust me, even if you go to a tier 2 college or any college that you choose, if you feel that, okay, you should not feel that you are doing less than anybody. But if you feel that you might lack somewhere, what you can do is you can go prepared and have a plan B, and don't let things happen to you. So when people say that I went there because of that happened, it is actually wrong reasoning. You are the control of your life. You have it in your hands. So you can do anything you want wherever you are. And you can shape your life in whichever way you can, because the key is in your hands. And you cannot actually be judged by anybody. Neither you have to, compare yourself with anyone else. You are the only one you have to compare yourself with. If you prepared well and you did whatever you could, you have actually succeeded.
Okay,
That's
that's a valuable input, Shivangi. Thanks a lot. Guys, I also want to know that now what is the first step now? What are the entrance exams that students should look at? How should they look at entrance exams? Because everything gets branched off. If I am interested in marketing, maybe I will also prepare for the MyCat. If I am interested in HR, maybe I'll prepare for the ZAT and the TestNet. If I am interested in the generic course, then I'm going to likelier focus on IIFT and MAT, those kinds of exams. How do you make those decisions from here on? Because people branch off in different directions from here. Kinshuk, you want to go first? Akram, anybody?
I believe the decision of choosing a specialized option now on will actually be significant, but for me and a lot of my peers, it was more about which exam can I best perform in, which pattern suits me well. And later on, we could go on about deciding if I want to get into marketing or HR. That's a very illogical reasoning. Everybody will tell you that go for what you love, go for what you really want to do in life. But practically, you never know if you would perform well on the MyCat or on the ZAT examination. So whatever pattern suits you or wherever you can best perform in is what you should aim at. Like appear for all the examinations, give your best, and then look at count the acts when you have them in your hand. I think that's
Right.
how I approached it.
Okay. That's counterintuitive to what people usually say around this. Kinshuk, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I would like to add to Akram's point. The basic material for the preparation remains same throughout all the management examination. So the DILR and the VRC or the quant are the three pillars of all the examination. So having prepared for CAT, you have already aced in that sections. For IIFT, my strategy was to revise all the GK concepts, the important events that happened throughout the years, the banking events and all. So that helped me when I was sitting in IIFT exam, because the GK can be a deciding factor. You were right when you said that there may be friends who keep posting their scores or estimate, and that can bog you down.
Right.
But again, you have to list out the examinations you are enrolled in. You can also select which college you want to go, the particular strength. People generally use the top 10 and top 20 brackets of colleges and prepare accordingly. So given the time, this time different examinations are giving, I think it's in January itself. So you can chart out the strategy specific to the examination and plan your days accordingly.
Okay, time to bring in Prerna ma'am a little bit here, and she deals with a lot of students and understands what kind of challenges they go through. Prerna ma'am, to begin with, when an exam like this comes to an end, any of the major exams in this country, whether it is the IIT or the banking exam or the NEET or the medical entrance exam, we see a lot of students going through a lot because we are a very test-taking driven country in that sense. What are some of the top issues that run through students' minds in your experience, and how would you recommend they deal with them?
Yeah, certainly. I think there are so many competitive exams, and I think these days what is happening is that students have started preparing since a very early age. So
Right.
you see students as young as 12 or 13 preparing for the JEE mains and JEE advanced and whatnot. The planning starts since a very young age. And students are also enrolled in schools where that coaching is happening alongside. So there is a lot that is happening, So in fact, recently I heard of somebody who joined engineering coaching or probably the CAT coaching, maybe in the 12th standard, and
Right.
how he was regretting that, I wish I would have started it earlier because everybody around me already is an expert. So it's just something that has become the trend. And I think there is so much of pressure. There is this script we are all operating with, that
Right.
we need to go to this college, do this course. And I think that is something that creates the pressure. And there are these definitions of success and failure that we have, and that also creates the pressure. So this is something that is commonly seen in students who are preparing for these exams.
Right. In fact, one of the things I think in the chat also we've got Harsh who's saying that sir इतनी मेहनत करने के बाद भी एग्जाम expectations के according नहीं गया, बहुत रोना आ रहा है. And this is the feeling, right? Like it's such a high stakes thing, these exams, that you feel very sad. And Harsh, yeah, I'll let Prerna speak to you. Prerna, how do you deal with that kind of thing where you feel that you put in all the effort and you still you're so disappointed at the end of it?
Absolutely. I think I'll just introduce one of the psychological concepts very briefly. So I think while we are counseling, there is an approach that we follow. It's called the narrative approach, which says that it is not the situation that actually makes you feel distressed. It is your interpretation of the situation that actually makes you feel distressed. So after an exam, so if I am of the feeling that I have not done well, or maybe I have not achieved the percentile that is required to maybe get into the college of my choice, the institution of my choice.
Right.
I am a failure. And if I am continuously battling with the fact that I'm a failure, it is a very pressurizing feeling, right? So you are either a success or a failure. That is the feeling that I have, right? So just take a moment to reflect on this thought. When I'm saying that I am a failure, what do I mean? Did I not answer a single question in the paper? Was there not a single section that might have gone well while I was answering the paper? So
Right.
ऐसा नहीं है. I might have answered some questions well. I might have answered some sections well. I might have even scored very good percentile. Maybe when I'm just adding up my scores, it is coming up to a good percentile. It's just not something enough to maybe qualify into the school of my choice, right? So I think these are definitions that need to be challenged. These interpretations need to be challenged, and that is what we work with students with when they come for counseling.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the flip side to relative grading, right? Like when you're being compared to how the rest of the people have done. So you are basically told at the end of an exam that these many percentage of people are smarter than you in this country, and hence they've gotten better careers and futures compared to you, and that kind of hurts. We have someone who's saying. We've got Pratik who's talking about how devastated and screwed up he's feeling. Pranav is talking about how he's doomed after facing VARC in slot 1. So those are the kind of feelings that come in, especially, most of the people don't even talk to these guys eventually because, they've not made it to a B school. So it's not an audience that anybody wants to talk to. So you also feel a little bit alone. And how do you reach out for help in these kinds of situations, Prerna, and your family members, your close ones? What are the roles that they can play in this kind of a situation?
Yes, certainly. I think when it comes to family members, I think what I can say for them is please be supportive. Like I was saying, that these interpretations and most of these chats that you're reading out where students are saying I'm doomed, so it is so much of helplessness that is actually reflecting in whatever they're stating, right? So it's almost like an all or nothing phenomena where you're either a success or a failure. So there is no in between. There is no consideration for that fact. Some sections I might have done well. Maybe this is something that I need to work hard, right? So I think maybe parents, families can also play that kind of a role for students, that try and understand which are some of the sections that you have done well, which are some of the topics that you might have to prepare a little better, right? And also look at that. Look at what are some of the things that you have done well. Know your strengths. I think that is something that is very important. Right. And when it comes for help, yes, definitely. If you wish to see a counselor, do see a counselor. Talk to your parents. Tell your families that I want to see a counselor, and there is absolutely no shame about it.
There is this feeling, there is this feeling that, okay, where do I go next? But there is also this fear that sets in for competitive exams once you've had a bad competitive exam. So some of the students, some of the other comments coming in are, Abhishek is saying that, every year paper is only going to get more difficult. I don't know where they will stop. Pratiksha is saying, like Delhi University has raised the bar, I feel IIMs are also going to keep raising the bar year after year. So you're feeling intimidated about what's coming in the future also, basis what has happened earlier. So how do you overcome that or deal with that?
Absolutely. So I completely understand that it is a very competitive environment out there, and the kind of percentiles that you are talking about, it's almost above 95 percentile. I'm not sure how many students must be making it if the kind of percentile is that high. So I completely understand the pressure. It's all built, it's all there in our systems, and it is natural to also feel that pressure. I think what is very important is that know your strengths. I think that is something that I would say. See, when you're preparing for it also, that is maybe playing on playing on your mind that, I need to prepare for these exams, I need to get this kind of percentile, right? And when you have that kind of thing in mind, there is always this thought that, okay, mujhe to kuch nahi aata hai, there is nothing that I know, and I don't know how I'm going to appear for these exams. So maybe give a thought to yourself, is it true that you do not know anything? Right? If you were to answer the paper today, how many questions will you answer? Will you not be able to answer a single question? Aisa to nahi hai. You will be able to answer some questions, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? You're 3, right? Even if you're 2 or 3, you are somewhere. You're not at 0.
Right.
So then try and take smaller steps. Try and see how you can move to 10. Try and see how you can take more steps. And know your strengths. I think that is one of the ways of going about it, and try to improve on your own abilities. Yeah.
Yeah, last question before I go back to the students, and then again we'll come back to you, Prerna ma'am, towards the end. There is this comment by Arvind Prakash, for example, that life is unfair. A bad DILR question screws up and you don't know whether to blame the system or yourself. Now, both of them are problematic approaches, right? If you blame the system, you're playing a victim kind of a thing about yourself, that, things are happening to you, as Shivangi was also talking about, that sometimes you get into that mindset. Or the other alternative is to blame yourself, and then you're basically constantly feeling inadequate and guilty about it. So my understanding is that neither of these approaches are ideal in that sense. So what in your opinion is the way to look at it then?
Okay, right. So I think firstly, where we are looking at defining ourselves with a particular result, so something that we need to see, that it is important to also reflect on how we are defining ourselves, how we are, what is the kind of perspective we are having towards the world because of the way the situations are, right? So the whole thing that, the world around me is bad, and if the world is a bad place to be in, the world is a hopeless place to be in, is also a very helpless perspective, where I feel that everything is out of my control. Similarly, when I'm blaming myself, that is also a very difficult position to be in, because I don't think I have any abilities at all, right? So maybe reframing those kind of thoughts, is the world unfair? No. Maybe there are some systems that are difficult. Maybe there are some places that are very competitive. That can be a more realistic way of maybe putting it across.
Right.
And am I a failure? Have I spoiled it, or am I doomed? Is that the perspective of looking at it? Reframe it. Maybe this is one part of the paper, or this is one part of the subject that I don't know. These are my lackings. These are my strengths. Maybe I need to work on this. So that instills me with some hope.
Okay, thanks a lot, Prerna ma'am. We'll come back to you to close the session. I want to hear from Rishabh, Kinshuk and Akram now. Rishabh, if I could ask you, how long does this system continue where कितना cat percentile आया है tends to define you, then तेरी company का CTC कितना आया है that tends to define you. There are so many of these labels that define you, and it is true, this all or nothing is the kind of attitude that is peddled around in everything that we do, not just in MBA, even in the Silicon Valley startup world. That's how it's looked at. You have a show called All or Nothing where sports teams who are that aggressive and that good are celebrated and admired. So where does all of this stop, and then how do you approach it as a student yourself?
Yeah, this might be like a very hard truth to digest, but the rat race will continue. It gets even worse as you join the college. So right now you won't be chasing the percentile anymore. You're going to be chasing for the best package, the best role, the best company, and people are going to be fighting even more tooth and neck, because right now you have that 20 lakh loan on your head if you have made it to your dream college,
Right.
and out there the stakes are higher. So imagine that suppose you end up in the bottom 10 who get placed, bottom 10 people, their packages are not really that good, or for whatever college,
Right.
might not be so good, and you have a 20 lakh loan on your head. Nobody wants to be that person, and this continues. And once you get to the job, that's what I've been told by seniors, you want to be on the fast track to promotion, you want to become the partner first, and so these things keep going on. And I think Prerna ma'am can answer it for me also. How do I get out of the rat race with my sanity intact? So that is a question that all of us would like to know.
Yeah, makes sense, Rishabh. Again, some heart wrenching comments coming in. Gaurav is saying, I think the race against time was unfair to everyone. अब कैसे हो पाएगी MBA? मेरा प्लान किया था, क्या हो गया? Is what Harsh is saying. I'm feeling like something is shattered within me. Why did I indulge so much in the exam? These are some of the comments coming in, and guys, that is why we are having this session. Understand that this is not the end of the world. सब लोग ने जिंदगी में बहुत सारा उखाड़ा है, और सब लोग ने उसके लिए कैट एग्जाम नहीं दिया है, और कैट एग्जाम टॉप नहीं किया है उसके लिए, ठीक है? So like most of the great people in this world didn't crack the CAT exam. I understand that it is a ticket to a lot of amazing things, but there are other tickets as well, and they exist. They are within reach for all of us now. There are things in this country that have given you that kind of freedom to achieve whatever that you dream of, and it's not coming from some delusional belief. It's coming from seeing how people all over the country are doing amazing things on their own without taking help from anybody else, but actually building their own businesses online, offline, figuring out, navigating their problems and figuring out solutions, creative solutions, beautiful solutions that can help everybody move forward. So you have to, the biggest thing that you can take from here is a certain amount of positivity. If there was something that was genuinely going to help you navigate this time, is going to be optimism, a certain belief, a certain faith that something good is meant for you, as well, as they say in that famous Swedish house mafia song as well. So would love to hear from Akram and Kinshuk also on this. How do you guys feel about this entire rat race?
So see, for starters, you never know where you will end up. So when I started the CAT preparation, like 6 months prior to it, I was preparing for very again counterintuitive, but I was preparing for a very initial position in the police. Then I moved on to someone told me, okay, there is an SSC exam, you could get some good government position out of it. So I was preparing for the SSC examination. I had taken a pack from an online mock and I was appearing for one mock and the other. Then someone told me, okay, CAT, I gave CAT last year, this is what my percentile was. So I started preparing for the CAT. And after CAT, every exam I gave, I started researching about the college. That was the best college. Like I am giving the NMAT, so NM is the best college. I am giving the IIFT is the best college. That is where I want to see myself. So you never know where you will end up. And at the end of the day, I screwed up the CAT, I screwed up IIFT, every other exam out there, and ended up clearing the ZAT. So you never know where you would end up. Just keep preparing, keep motivating yourself, bring that positivity within yourself, as Quinn said, and the future is going to be bright. It's going to be good.
Akram, actually there's a specific question for you. M23 is asking, ZAT हो जाएगा, 1 महीना बचा है.
So, to be very honest, everybody will tell you very specific pointers on ki ye karo, do this and that. I would tell you what I actually did. Like post CAT, all of the preparation was done. Now that has a unique section called decision making. Now with decision making, 1 month is good enough. And then
Right.
there's GK. As for GK, someone will tell you GK is very important for that. GK mein ye karo, GK mein do this. But for GK, I have seen people with a 0 score, with a 2, 3, 4 type of score and ending up clearing the ZAT. So GK is not important. What you have done for IIFT or other examination is good enough. Focus on the decision making section. Now for the decision making section, some very quick pointers. Don't go for something that's very extreme. So a colleague has been caught stealing. You have a friend who's doing something wrong. Don't fire them. Don't report them to the police. Maintain some sanity there, and go for an option that is having long-term benefits, not short-term benefits. Analyze the stakeholders. So 1 month is good enough. Just go for some that specific preparation. Give a mock or two, and that's good enough for that.
Okay.
Just 1 second. So,
Yeah.
guys, Akram and Rishabh, they both were with us as student team members last year. So, Akram has detailed out a strategy on how you can crack that. So, I'm putting that link up in the comment section. Do check that out. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. I just wanted to ask you one question, and this is related to the journey from now on. How would you divide your time between preparing for a little bit of the. So, before that, would you take a drop if the first time your CAT attempt hasn't gone well and clearly you identified that you've not put in the hours that are required for it? Would you recommend people taking a drop to attempt the CAT next year again?
So I think I took a drop, so I'll be
Right.
well placed to answer that. So you need to be very clear and very objective while making this decision that you are going to take a drop. Firstly, you should probably take a trial run of this. So take a leave from your job if you have a job, and try sitting the entire day and try sitting for long hours and see if you're actually as productive as you think in your head you would have been had you had that much time. So a lot of people take a drop and they end up doing the same thing again. They're not studying long enough. They don't have the learning in place, and you end up in a worse situation than you were because
Right.
you didn't have a job for 1 year. And so right now, give a small trial and take a week off and emulate the exact things that you would do if you had taken a drop. So then you have more perspective. Secondly, for the drop, you need to check your situation. And for example, I was working 15 hours a day. Are you working 9? If you are, no need to take it. I think you can still manage it in 5 hours. Obviously, it's up to you how much you put in, but you can manage it.
Right.
And then thirdly, you need to also check in your profile. So suppose you do take a drop, okay, and you have bad academics, but there's a college which gives more weightage on WorkX. So by increasing your WorkX, you have more chance in that college, and you end up making up for your academics. So if you have poor academics and you don't have any WorkX, chances are you won't get a call, whatever
Right.
you score. So you need to be very objective while taking this decision. Don't rush into an emotional decision saying कि यार मैं पढ़ नहीं पाता हूँ. वो तुम नहीं पढ़ पाते probably because there's some issue in the learning process, how you sit, how you probably imbibe information, or how you practice. It's usually not because of the time. So you need to take a very objective decision while taking a drop.
Right. Okay. I'm going to come back to Prerna ma'am now. Prerna ma'am, from here on, how does a student go about building his confidence? Because what happens is that you lose confidence in this, and then rubs off into other areas also. You say if you have a job, you've been quite arrogant about your job all this time, saying that okay, मैं तो जा रहा हूँ एंड ऑफ द ईयर में, मुझे तो बी स्कूल में एडमिशन मिलने वाला है, मैं उसके लिए पढ़ाई के लिए छुट्टी भी ली है मैंने, एंड नाउ यू आर गोइंग टू गो बैक इनटू दैट कंपनी एंड दे आर गोइंग टू take their pound of flesh from you. So how do you build confidence back to be able to navigate that and other areas of your life as well?
Sure, I think definitely. So I think what is happening in this whole process, like I was also listening to Rishabh, and Rishabh also talked about this being a rat race. So the reason why it makes it so disturbing for aspirants who are maybe preparing for competitive exams is because there are these labels that are attached to you, that if you were to crack this exam or if you were to get into this particular B school, you are a genius, or you are you have taken the first step to success. I think we are all governed by these labels somewhere, and these labels become a very intrinsic part of our identity, right? So
Right.
it's all about these labels, that if I have cracked the CAT exam, in how many attempts have I done it? If I've done it in the first attempt, I'm a genius. If I've taken a drop, I'm lesser of a genius. If I've gotten into this B school, I am a genius. If I've gotten into the other B school, I'm a lesser of a genius. So I think these are labels that we are all battling with, which makes it very difficult for us, right? And we are all constantly surrounded by people who are judging us by the basis of these labels, right? And we are all governed by these scripts and these milestones that we have to cover in some span of time. So I think that makes it very disturbing for us. That also sometimes demotivates us, right? So understanding, firstly reflecting within and understanding that how our life is way beyond these labels, right? Of course, I understand that having a good CAT score or maybe getting into a very good, very reputed B school might mean a lot to you, right? But is that the only thing that is going to define you, right? What about your own abilities, your own strengths? Like one of you was also saying some time ago that there are people who might have never gone to a B school, might have never cracked the CAT exam, but today are doing very well for themselves. How did they do that?
Right.
Have those labels associated. So know that your life is way beyond these labels. Have faith in your own strengths as a person, right? Be compassionate to yourself. I think that is also something that's very important in such scenarios.
May I ask you a question about this? So what about the constant reminders that you're going to get after the exam, reminding you that how much ever resolve I have, that I am not going to be defined by these labels, and you have constant reminders around you that
Yes.
maybe you haven't reached there, and the hard truth is you haven't. So what do you exactly do in that? Because you will be reminded constantly. You were a part of the race.
Absolutely.
So how does one go about that as well?
Okay, right. So there are these reminders that the situations are giving you, and we as a society also, we have a particular mindset, we function by a particular mindset. Yes, definitely there are reminders. So I think one of the ways to maybe cope with that is create your own reminders. Have them around you, surround them with you, right? So I think there's something that I say to students while I am in the counseling session, right? So remember somebody who has been very supportive in your life, right? How would they respond? Say they were with you right now. How would they respond to you in such a scenario, right? What are some of the things that they would say to you to motivate you, right? If you can't think of a supportive person, then think of an imaginary person who can be supportive to you. What according to you should a supportive person say to somebody who is disturbed? Or if you were to support a friend who is in a similar situation, what would you say to them, right? And write those things down, write those affirmations down, and create your own reminders, right? So if the moment I'm getting a critical voice, try to remind myself of a supportive voice around me, and try to challenge that inner critical voice by these supportive voices and these affirmations that I create for myself. It is going to be tough, definitely, because we have grown up listening to all of those critical voices around us, and our life has been governed by these scripts. But I think these are little attempts that we can make to maybe keep the motivation afloat. And there may be many other things which may motivate you. So please hold on to that and
Right.
see if that makes a difference. I hope I've answered your question.
There are certain things that people on this panel can understand. I understand Shivangi, Akram, Rishabh, Kinshuk, all of them have taken the exam and had a shit exam before they figured out their lives around it. But one thing nobody can understand is this additional impact of COVID on everything else, right? Because here you're starting your most important year of preparation. You are ready for, you've gotten fitter, you've gotten serious about going to coaching class, preparing many hours a day, and you are stuck at home. You're stuck at home in a 1 BHK with 6, 7, 8 members of your family, and you're having to do your studies in that kind of commotion, whereas you were going to be in a college classroom or a library studying for it. Now you're stuck with a score that is not going to get you somewhere, and you're just wondering that this entire year has been such a struggle for you. Not just in terms of the CAT exam is just a culmination of so many other things that have come before you, and there is a certain amount of loneliness to add to it. It's not like I can just go out on the street right now and chill with, go and stay with my friend in a different city right now, because it is just so difficult to navigate COVID as well, apart from all these things. And some of the people have been writing about that as well. So what do you think that adds to, and how do you navigate that then from?
Yeah, I would take that since
Yeah.
I had the same apprehensions for joining the B school since the result keep coming in the lockdown. So I was very apprehensive of joining the B school now. How would be the experience? And MBA is about the peer learning and getting in groups, solving cases. So I had apprehensions, but once I make up my mind to go ahead with it, it was a very smooth ride. Again, it depends upon how the college administration and how you cope up with that. Initial few days, there are few hiccups from both the sides, and in the families, as Kunj has pointed out, you can't always expect environment like B school in a 1 BHK. But everything's going to come around. You need to reach your parents and make them understand the stakes you are putting in going to attending classes in B school. So I too faced certain hiccups with that regard, but it came around, and within 15 to 20 days the class experience was seamless. And once you dedicate the slots, and your parents also observe the pattern that he's attending the class at this time, we need to maintain certain calm. So it comes around, I would like to say that.
Okay, guys, before I close this session with Prerna ma'am, I just want to ask you, or ask each of you, what to do now in a single line to crack IIFT, to crack XLRI, and to crack IIM Kozhikode.
I would like to say that yesterday, one of my favorite quotes is, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That is why it's called the present. So whatever thoughts that come in your mind now have to be about the future, nothing about the past or whatever has gone by. So just try to optimize your preparation that you had done for CAT and see how you can use it for other exams. Your preparation will never go in waste. Just remember that.
Okay, that's sage advice, Shivangi. Guys, can I get a more specific input from you guys in terms of what to do for each of the exams that you finally managed to crack? So, if you could tell me in a single line, what should the students be doing from here on for those exams?
So I'll take you directly to next year CAT, and I think Akram and Kinshuk can talk about IIFT and XL. So for next year CAT, broadly you can classify yourself in two categories. One who didn't study, so you need to start and you need to understand how to get your percentile up, the entire grind. There are many articles out there. Find out how people have done it and get to it. The unlucky person who used to get 99 plus in every mock and had a very bad day. So for you, believe me, friend, if you got 99.5 or 2 or whatever you did in mocks, you probably can take it to 99.9 next year, and something even bigger awaits you than what the level you are at. So keep at it. And again, for the other category, one last thing, it's a journey and there's a grind. Read about others' grinds, read how they reach. There's ample articles out there. Find out your way and don't lose sight of what you wanted. Once you lose sight, there'll be no reason to keep grinding. So you need to answer, why am I sitting every night for 10 hours, 6-7 hours into the night when everyone else is partying? That answer should be, I want to reach my dream college, and that's what will keep you going. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, thanks Rishabh. What about you, Kinshuk? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, for IIFT specifically, there is only, if you look at it, there is only a GK section that needs a preparation. Rest you are covered. There are certain sets in DILR that are more calculative as compared to CAT. You can always practice them on more calculative set. All the resources are available. For GK, there are two parts, static and dynamic. For static, you can refer to different books like Manorma, and many coaching institute also float materials for static GK called compendiums. And for dynamic GK, you need to go through all the important events, scroll through all what is happening, especially the government organizations that are really active these days. And to finish it off, you can attempt certain mocks or take a look at the previous year IIFT examination, and you'll be good to go.
All right. Yeah, Akram, last words from you.
So everything else has been like we have already prepared everything else. Just focus on the decision making section. For the decision making section, go through some blogs, go through how people have done it, and there are some basic pointers you could go through. Read some blogs. That's very important. Go for some mocks to read last year papers for the decision making section only. And for GK, don't fret about it. You don't need to have any specialized preparation in there for GK. And optimize when you are appearing for the examination. Optimize how many questions you attempt according to the unanswered questions and the negative marking, because that has a penalty for unanswered questions beyond X number of questions. So
Right.
that's it specifically for that. And all the best.
All right, perfect. Last question, and this is specifically for Prerna ma'am. Prerna ma'am, there are going to be a lot of thoughts that go through our minds when something like this happens, when you feel that you failed at something, and you sometimes feel like taking some extreme steps for it also. So what should be your first immediate reaction when you see yourself thinking about extreme steps to take when you've not done well in an exam, or you feel that the pressure is getting too much and you feel like taking something extreme? What are some of the immediate things that you should do when you feel that your mind is making really weak decisions?
Surely, I think these can be difficult situations. Like, I completely understand that there are some like these situations can be really life shattering, and sometimes there can be thoughts of maybe harming your own self, right? So these are thoughts that sometimes come to you, and I completely understand that it's a very helpless situation. So I think the very first thing that I would really encourage people to do is to ask for help. I think that is one of the first things that anybody needs to do in a situation like that. Reach out for help. There are many helplines that are available who offer counseling for emotional distress. I am associated with iCall that offers counseling for emotional distress and also for suicidal ideation, right? So talk to a loved one who you trust. I think that is something that is very important in a situation like that. Just take a moment. So if somebody is not accessible, say you are in a position where you are in a situation where you're not able to access anybody for help, just take a moment, calm down. Because I think what happens in these situations is, if I have to just tell you from the psychological point of view, your emotions get really intense, right? So just take a moment, calm down, take a few deep breaths, think about a few positive experiences that you have had, think about anything that is likely to calm you, that is likely to soothe you, right? And reach out for help. I think that is something that you really need to do. Take counseling. There is absolutely no shame, no stigma. There is a lot of stigma associated with taking counseling for sure, but there is absolutely nothing that you have to feel ashamed about if you're seeing a counselor. And mental health is as important as your physical health and everything else that you care about in your life, right? So please do reach out for help, and help is available. I think that is something that I would like to really say.
All right, perfect. Thanks a lot, guys. This was probably the panel with the lowest number of students attending, but this was probably the panel with the most amount of valuable information given. I think we've discussed some really tough things here. Not enough people discuss the negative outcomes of the whole cat business, and we appreciate you guys turning up for this and giving us your time. Prerna ma'am, specifically you, thank you so much for again giving us time on our channel. We'll continue to reach out to you to speak to our students, because we feel that yours is the kind of voice that should reach to the students more often, so that there is balance to everything. There, it's not an all or nothing world. Hustle is not a word to be always praised, and it's not about it's not a rat race, this life. There are a lot of things that you can do, like enjoy a butterfly flying over a flower, and there is joy in just stopping and looking at those things and not always trying to win every race you are in it. So thank you so much, guys, for turning up for this. To the audience who are watching this, we are going to again make a segue back into the world of cat. At 8:30 we have a session with the superstars of IIMs joining. We've got Shashank Prabhu, Prasad Sawant and Vipul Tyagi from IIMs joining in. They are going to talk about what is the cutoff predictions, what are the percentile calculations as per them. We are going to go live with them at 8:30. The link is there on our YouTube channel. You can go check it out. It's there in the description of this video as well. So you can log in from there and understand from the absolute experts in terms of what are the cutoff predictions for CAT this year and what was their understanding of this year's CAT. Is it truly as difficult as it's made out to be since 2017, or is there more to that story? We'll join you at 8:30 on the link that is there in the description with the IMS team to talk about the CAT cutoff predictions. With that, from everybody on this call, this is thank you and goodbye. Thank you so much, everybody, and the Cat Day Live caravan continues at 8:30. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Rishabh. Thank you, Kinshuk. Thank you so much, Akram. Thank you, Prerna, ma'am.
Thank you, Prerna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bye. Bye. Good night. Bye.